Hey Stampers, Diane Divich here with ddStamps.com and welcome to my stamp room. Hey Karen, glad you made it. Linda, glad to see you're here. That's awesome. If you're out there, give me a thumbs up, share the video, make a comment. I'm here to answer your questions tonight, and I also have a whole bunch of fun things to show you. All right, so I hope everybody's doing well. I will tell you, I actually tonight, you know, with the sun going down so early, I'm sitting around like waiting to do these lives. So I'm kind of debating on changing the time to maybe 6 or 6:30. We'll see. I think it'll work better for me. I don't know. But I'll just, if you're not on my email list, jump on my email list, and because I send out information about it, so you'll know what I plan to do. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. We're going to get started. So tonight I'm doing using this stamp set. It's one stamp. Merry Christmas. It's one of my favorite stamp sets out of the catalog. It was out of the mini. And the dies I'm using are the branching out dies. These are all frames. And then you've got, of course, a branch, a pine cone, and then some berries and a long berry. But I love these dies. These dies work great without the branching out stamp set, but I want to show you some projects that I'm making for my Create With Me Club for this month. All right, so before we get started, a couple of things. The Stampin' Up, I'm going to come back on screen. The Stampin' Up starter kit offer that Stampin' Up offered this month for $35 ends tomorrow. I can't even imagine bypassing this opportunity. However, I understand when people don't really want to do that. However, you get $129 for the product for $35. Screaming deal. There's no obligation. You will be part of my team if you sign up under me, and then you will be invited to team meetings, and we just do things like this. We stamp, we share ideas. Anyway, ends tomorrow. I just want to make sure that you understand that. So, and I think that's it. All right. Oh, so let me flip my camera. Let me show you this month's tutorial. So anybody who places an order from me this month will get this tutorial using the Gathering Together stamp set and designer series paper. What I do is if you place an order with me, I send you the tutorial for these 4 projects. If your order is over $50, you get a packet of supplies from me to make the cards in the packets. So just so you can see how cute these are. I love this paper. It's got a little gold foil going through it. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you can see that there. And then I used a blender pen on the mushroom on here just to give it a more watercolored look. But this is a fun fold, so it opens up. It's supposed to have paper in there. I just never got around to putting it in. And then there's this one here, uses the big dies from the Gathering Together stamp set and bundle. But yeah, so those are the 4 cards that are in my tutorial, and that tutorial of course ends tomorrow, and then we have another one, and I've got it ready to go to show you on Saturday. My gosh, Saturday's gonna be November 1st. All right, so the next thing I wanted to show you just really quickly, I want to talk a little bit about my Create With Me Club, which I started, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. And it's a subscription-based club. You sign up through PayPal, and then I send you kits to complete the projects. And so like this month's kits, there's 5 cards. You get to make 2 of each. I send you all the cardstock die cuts, any extras that you need in there. It usually focuses around a bundle or a stamp set. This one focuses around branching out, which is the stamp set that goes with this die set. It's super fun. I love it because it had all these different sayings in it that aren't really Christmassy. However, the cards that I made could be Christmas if you wanted them to be, by just changing out your stamps. All right, so here's the cards. Like I said, I send you PDFs of the instructions, and I also do a video for everybody so that they can, you can stamp right along with me. But show techniques. This one's cool. Has a lot of dimension to it. This one has a lot of sparkle to it, as you can see. The pine cones are done with that new foil paper that is in the holiday mini. This is a Technique one, and I don't know if you can see, but these have little white frost on the ends of their tips, which is kind of a fun technique to do. And then this one is a fun fold. And then there's this one is a fun fold, and this opens up. So what I send you is I send you a half a pack of the designer series paper, a full pack of the gems, and this one you're going to get the linen thread. Plus we're going to do some blending with the blending brush, so you'll have a blending brush in your kit. But it's kind of a class all put together, so a lot of fun. All right, so I did that. Did my tutorial. Oh, I want to show you something really quickly. So this, while I was waiting, I didn't know what else to do, so I made this. Isn't it cute? It's just paper. I stamped the little, it's the most magical time of the year, but it's just a snowflake paper. And I die cut them out so they have a little dimension to them. Anyway, just a really fun little project that 6 o'clock, I had nothing else to do. So I'm like, oh, I know it. I can stamp. But I don't want to get in here and stamp too much and make a huge mess, which is what normally happens. All right. So here is the first card, and I just wanted to show this one to begin with. It's a shaded spruce base card, and I used that big stamp and just did some layering and added this ribbon. This ribbon that I'm using tonight, oh my gosh, it is like so soft. It's soft and it's really awesome ribbon. Anyway, I just made it real basic, trimmed it out, added some layers, and I did add a little bit of dimension on this, and then some of those beautiful sparkles, which these are the sparkles that I'm using tonight. But what I wanted to show was the next card where I stepped it up a bit, where I used those frames. That's all I did differently, but it does make a difference in the look of your card. So I'm going to show how to make this one. And like I said, it's super easy. So I've got the stuff cut. So we're using a shaded spruce base, card base. And I'm going to change it up a little bit because this is just the back of this paper. But I thought I'm going to use this snowflake paper and we'll just change the card up. I want you to see. Oh, good. Glad you made it, Joan. I want you to see, just because of a different side of the designer series paper, you got a totally different look to your card. So that is a 4 by 5 1/4 layer that I just put on there. And I did end up cutting these out just to save time. So this is the frame done with shaded spruce, and this is the frame done with basic white. I love shaded spruce. It's one of those colors that kind of gets lost in the shuffle, but this year they brought it with this particular snowflake paper. Oh my gosh. The paper, this paper is an online exclusive. So that just means that you have to go online to find it. It's in the store, in the paper section. It is one of my first. Did I show the paper? I probably didn't. Okay, let me finish this stamp here. This was my favorite stamp in the Holiday Mini. And the only thing I would like better is if it was a wood-mounted stamp, because those I display. Especially when they're that pretty. All right. Oh, here. Did I show the paper? I have it sitting here. I better close this before I end up with shaded spruce all over my beautiful paper. Okay, so this is the paper I'm using tonight. Look at that snowflake. Look at how huge that is. And then you have a second side. And I will tell you that the backs of these were actually, oh, I love that shaded spruce is your favorite. That's awesome. So these were actually, what they did is they took water, and I believe they dyed it with a refiller and sprayed it and froze it and then took pictures. That's how they made the designer series paper. Look at this one. Beautiful. The colors are really just fabulous. So this is that snowflake. This is the paper I cut the snowflake out of. See, I cut this one out right here. Ta-da! And I put Wink Stella on it to make it sparkle. I'm going to make some of those for some of my friends. I love this one, which is the one that I used on this card. I love this one. Something about that. Oof. Those are pretty. Lots of fun paper. And then these are really beautiful snowflakes that you can on that dark paper. It's pretty. Anyway, so that's the designer series paper I'm using tonight. Like I said, that is part of the online exclusives that is called Elegant Pine Snowflake. All right, so once I've got this done, I am going to, it does look like it was made with salt. I think they did a, I think they did a little Facebook Live or something and talked about it a little bit. All right, so for this card, here, I need to put this card over there and this card here. So I took this frame and my shaded spruce and my blending brush. Lots of people like shaded spruce. All right, so the blending brushes are great. So I'm just gonna pick up some ink. And one of the things that I sometimes do is dab it off just so I can see how much is actually on there because I don't really want it to be totally dark. And then I'm gonna take that. And this really makes the stitching on that die, that label die, pop. Oh, my dog is out there going crazy. There must be a deer or moose or something in the neighborhood. But just soften that up a little bit. I like how that looks. And then I'm going to take my shaded spruce, one that I cut out, and this lovely ribbon. I'm going to go ahead. When I measure ribbon, I usually measure it right from a card. 1, 2, 3, 4 lengths will give me enough for a bow. 3 lengths will give me enough for a knot. Let me look for my scissors. That's why I shouldn't stamp right before I go on live. Oh, we got Sue from Australia. My bucket list contains a trip to Australia. I keep hoping Stampin' Up! Is going to give us an incentive trip to Australia, which probably wouldn't be as much fun for those that live there, but I would just love to go and see that part of the world. So I'm just tying this into a bow. Maybe. Find that loop in there. Let's just start over. And you'll notice I'm tying it in the middle because I find it is easier for me. There we go. And then I'm just going to be a little bit fussy with it. I don't really want it those bigger loops. I want littler loops. But I also don't want to lose my tension. So. All right. So there's my bow. The nice thing about that bow is that I can move it. So I'm just going to scoot this all the way over to this side because I just want it to be on the side of the card. The nice thing also about this bow is that it is so soft and pliable that I don't think you'd have to pay extra to mail this card. I don't think. All right. Once I get that all scooted over, that ribbon is a 1 inch. No, it's not. It's like 7/8 of an inch. It's not quite an inch. But it's got that beautiful gold trim on the edge there. There we go. That's how I want it. All right, once I've got that where I want it, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Merry Christmas and add a couple of dimensionals to it. And then I'm going to slide this under here. And what I want to do is I still want to make sure that I end up with an even border and still have that bow on there. So that worked out great. And then this piece is going to get placed on here. And I, again, am just trying to make sure that there's an even border around it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and trim up that bow. And the one thing I will tell you today, I actually took my heat gun to the ends of this and it did melt it enough so it's quit fraying. You could use a match. You wouldn't have to use a heat gun. You have to be a little careful with a heat gun because they get so hot that all of a sudden your whole ribbon will shrink up. Anyway, beautiful card. And then I can take some of these beautiful gems that coordinate and add them. And on this one, I could have added probably red too, because there is red in this paper. This was a monochromatic card, so everything was kind of the same color tones except for the gold. But exact same layout, 2 different looks. I love that. All right, there's card number 1. Card number 2, I'm coming in with a different color palette this time. This time I'm using, yes, I will be able to mail that. Joan, I probably, because I put the embellishments and the dimensionals on there, I can sometimes get away without putting extra postage, but lately the post office has been pretty strict about that. So I probably would add extra postage. It's so pretty though. I mean, it's pretty enough to display. All right. So this next one uses the, it's not called Peace, Love, Joy. What's it called? Anybody know? Give me the answer to this blue page. Oh, no, I don't have it there. I put it all away. But anyway, so I just wanted to show a different card with a couple different things. So this is this product suite that we have, and I'm using the designer series paper, the glitter paper, and the ribbon that goes with that suite. It also has some embellishments that go with that too. So I've cut my cardstock and I'm using cloud cover. Let me move that out of the way. So these colors in this paper are like cloud cover, secret sea, misty moonlight. It's really pretty. And I've got other, I'll post the products that I use down below the video after I'm done. All right, so this is the glitter paper. You can see how shiny it is. Peace on Earth is the stamps, yep. But I'm just using the, oh, there we go. My daughter-in-law taught me how to fix my seal when it gets messed up. Okay, I gotta let the dog in now. She's gonna drive me crazy. Come on. We have had moose all over town and they've been all over my yard. So I have to be really careful when I send her out to make sure that it's not in the yard. Although they don't go near each other. The moose is quite young. Anyway. So again, I'm using a different paper than this one because I just wanted to show the different looks that you get. And then this is a secret sea glitter paper. It's beautiful. And I cut these out with the branching out dies. And again, I'm just making sure that I have an even border. And then this one, I'm going to clean this stamp. And I'll bring in Secret Sea. Ink that all up. Stamp it down. And I will tell you that this product suite with the paper and the ribbon also comes with some embellishments, but this had so much sparkle and bling to it that I thought, I don't need any more embellishments. So this would actually definitely mail through the post office with no extra postage. This onto there. Has a lot of bling to it. And then so does the ribbon. So this is the silver edged ribbon and it's, I think it's Misty Moonlight. So what I'm gonna do, this too is really soft, but it's got, can you see the silver edge there, fringe? I'm just gonna tie a bow. And if I just do the loop part of the bow, it stays fairly flat. And then I can spend a little time getting my loops how I want them. Find my scissors. I try to clean up my desk before I get started on these at night. And you'd think that, you know, I would be able to find something that is right in this area, but my scissors always seem to end up buried under everything. All right, so I'm using a couple of mini glue dots. I'm getting down to the end of my roll there, and I'm just going to add that on to the top there. And like I said, it's flat enough that that would certainly mail. No problem. So there is, you know, the same card, same layout, just a couple of different designer series papers used. And that's only because I'm almost out of this designer series paper. I went a little crazy with it, made a lot of cards. All right, card number 3 is coming up. Let me clean up a little bit. This one is a little more complicated, but I think you're going to like it because it's not that hard. But I made a shaker card using those frames and that Merry Christmas. And I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. And then I did some embellishments here with the other dies in the set. So I did the branch, the pine cones, and then this little berry thing. All right, so let me show you how I did this. Here's my cut pieces. I'll just set those aside for now. I'm going to use this darker cardstock this time on here just to make it. Yeah, we all do, Joan. It's crazy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of these frames. I'm sure it's these 2. And I'm going to lay these out on my shaded spruce cardstock. And I just want to make sure that it's an even edge. That's pretty good. And if I do really want to make sure, I can actually tape it down. This is just Post-it tape that I got at my local office supply. Once I get these where I want them, I'm going to tape them down. And I'm going to run this through the die cut machine. I'll be right back. All right, so here's this piece. And I save these tapes on top of my handle of my die cut machine so that, oh, I left it there. I knew there was another one. So that I can use them over and over and over. All right, so on this one, we're going to pull these frames off. Now this piece I can use for something else, so I will save that. And then this piece, when I pull this off here, you'll see you've got a frame. And on this piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so earlier today I actually cut with a window sheet. I used that same frame as the big one. I used the biggest one, the big one that I used for the outside of this one, to cut out the window. And then, I should have done this earlier, but we'll get through it. I use the multi-purpose adhesive on this part because it moves. So I can make sure I get that window sheet in the right spot. And it holds on to it stays adhered. So I'm adding adhesive to the back of this frame. And then I'm going to take the frame that I cut out and I'm just going to lay that right on top of the piece. I'm going to go around with my finger to kind of smush that down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, let's grab a piece of paper towel just to make sure. I think I got some glue on here. No big deal. It's already probably full of stuff, but just to get that out of my way. Then I'm going to set this aside for a minute. So this is the piece with the window sheet in it. I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take just a piece of basic white and I better clean this again. Clean up my stamp. We'll do shaded spruce. This one would look cool too with Secret Sea, but we're going to use shaded spruce. We're going to stamp this down. Love that. I just love this stamp. It's one of my favorites. All right, shut that. This time I'm actually going to spend a little time fussy cutting. But I'm not going to get too detailed on this because I don't need to. I just want to cut it, trim it out. Trim it all the way around. So it was kind of fun today. I woke up this morning thinking, oh, I better figure out what I'm going to do for my Thursday night live. And I never planned too far ahead because I would change my mind a million times. But as I was sitting at work doing my paperwork, it occurred to me that I bought this stamp a while back and I haven't used it yet. And so I thought, well, I'm going to use that. I know I vowed that I wasn't going to do any Christmas until after Halloween. However, I've been stamping other Christmas things this week, and Halloween's tomorrow. It's close enough. We have to start working on our cards. All right, so I just went ahead and cut that out. Now, one of the things that I did on this one, I just left it white. You can see where it's just white. But on this one, I think I'm going to, because this cardstock is so dark, I think I want to tone down that white. I don't want it to be so bold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that blending brush and shaded spruce, and we're just going to add some color to this piece of cardstock. The one thing about a blending brush is you're better off to do a little bit of ink. Oh, I think I like that better. You're better off to start with a little color and add more. You can always add more. You can't take it away once you put it on the cardstock. So, all right, I'll stop before I get carried away. So let's put the card together. Shaker cards you always think are really difficult, but they're really not. This one is a little different, bit different just because usually when I do a shaker card, I would do put the adhesive on the back here and put something on the back to cover that. However, I wanted the paper to show because I think that paper is so pretty. I don't want to cover it up. So I just have to do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead. This one's pretty too. I love this garden green snowflake. I'm using a peacock base. This color had such a rich palette with it. I don't know. Here's some of the other colors. So it had peacock, shaded spruce, and then cherry cobbler, Secret Sea, old olive. It's just so rich. Love those colors. That's like my favorite color palette. All right, so there is my base. And I'm just going to take this piece and add it to the middle of my card here. And then we're going to work on this piece. All right, so it's not completely dry, but it's good enough. Good enough. So we have these great adhesive strips. They are like dimensionals. They're foam in between. These are what they're great for shaker cards. So I'm just going to go ahead along the edge. I'm going to trim it off here. And then what you want to do with a shaker card is you want to make sure, I'll go at an angle there, The biggest thing you need to deal with is that you don't have any openings, because otherwise all your shaker stuff will come out. So you want to make sure like that is completely closed. There's no gap there. So that, you know, when you mail this off to somebody, they don't end up with little shaker pieces all over their house because they fell out. So you just go around. And the other biggest thing is that you don't want any of the white tape to shine through on the other side of your frame. But you can always clean it up. There we go. And then I'll go this way. I'm getting there. And then I just have this little tiny, hopefully that's enough. Nope, did cut it long enough. Let's try that again. Perfect. All right, and then you want to flip it over and see where I have this corner that came peeking out. I can just do that. I got one over here too. Now on my other card, because it had a white base of paper, this one, you didn't really see if there was white, but on this black background or this dark background, you're going to see the white. So I'm just going to make sure it's cleaned up. And then you're going to go ahead. Oh, I know what I want to do. Okay, so the next thing I did was I found these. I found what I had around the house, around here for my shaker card. These loose shaker elements are really pretty. Really pretty. There's like stars and circles, and they're all very pretty colors, as you can see. And then I found these in my advent calendar. So just so you're aware, Stampin' Up! Put out an advent calendar this year. This is it. There's 12 doors and a stamp set that comes with it. I've done a whole series on YouTube of projects done with that, but I am using some of the products from that in this card, and one of them is these gold discs. Because I needed something sparkly, and these are awesome. They're just like our gems, but they don't have adhesive on them, so they will make great shaker cards. So like I said, normally I would put the shaker stuff in here and then add a cover over the top of that, but I don't want to cover up the paper, and I wanted the Merry Christmas to show through. So I'm actually just putting these right on the Merry. So we'll use some of those, and then we'll use a couple pinches of this. And these are getting all over my house because I'm sure the dogs will probably have them all over them tomorrow when they all get here. But the colors in this, it picks up kind of it's iridescent, so it picks up the colors that are in your paper. Push them all in so that I know that they're in the middle. And then you're going to go ahead and pull off these tapes. Maybe. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. And Joan would say, take your pick tool, Diane. And guess what, Joan? I have it sitting on my counter now. I do believe one of these last YouTubes, she said something about it. And I didn't have it. Never had it out. I always had it in a drawer, and it doesn't do any good to have it in the drawer. So this helps get those ends started. And then you can just pull it off. Maybe. I do plan to post these pictures of these cards up on my blog. I haven't as of today, but I will get there. That's funny, Joan. I'll try to get that done. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow. It is Halloween. All right. So now my frame is ready to go on, and it's all full of adhesive. So I'm going to just move this over. And all I want to do is make sure I get it centered where I want it. And then adhere it down and shake them. Yay! It's so festive. It's very different in the dark. Yeah, I'll put some of those in there. All right. Now, earlier today, I cut these out. So I cut out a branch. This time I did it in garden green because I wanted it to show up better. And then I did this little berry thing. I don't know if you can see that. But I used another product from that advent calendar, which was this big bottle of glittery glue, gold. And I just dabbed gold on there because it kind of reminded me of these dots. And I could have put some dots on there, but the glitter seemed faster. All right. So what I'm going to do to add these on is on this one, I'm going to do a tiny dimensional, the minis. And the reason is because it's going to hang off over here, and this is up with a dimensional. So I want to make sure that it's staying kind of flat. And then I'll use some green glue. A little dab will do ya. And add that on. And that's going to go like right there. Perfect. And then I'm going to take my little doohickey here that I made with the glitter glue. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this multi-purpose adhesive on there. It doesn't need a ton because it's going to stay. This is great adhesive. And I actually did the glitter glue earlier today so that it would dry. Because when I was doing it earlier, I was getting glitter glue all over everything. Imagine that. So that's on there. It kind of brings that around. And then I'm going to add a couple of these pine cones that I cut out with that foil paper in the, I think it's, is it in the mini catalog? I think so. Earthen toned. They're so pretty. I've been doing a lot of stuff with pine cones this fall. So I have that on there. I'm just going to add 2 on there. Gives it a little bit more bling. And then I'm going to take some, it's either linen thread or it's baker's twine. Whoops. Oh no, I'm not. On this one, I'm actually going to do a knot. The next one has that. I'm going to use this ribbon, this big ribbon, and cut off a piece and tie it in a knot. And I love it because you can make it small. And I love the gold foil through it. And then I'm going to trim off my edge. And again, you can, if you don't want that to fray, take a match to it or a little heat gun, very gently. Don't get carried away. And we're just going to add that on there just to give that card that next step up. So I will use, I think I'm probably to the end here. Oh no, there's some. For some reason I like to use 2. When I'm putting a ribbon on, I don't know why, I always have. Probably don't need to, but, and I'll add those on to hold those there. So you get a totally different look. One in light, one in dark. But I love the shaker cards. They're fun to play with. And if you gave that to a friend, they're probably going to put it on their mantle and it's going to be there forever. All right, that's card number 3, right? Let me clean up my mess. Get rid of all this little paper stuff. The next card's easy, super easy. But I love it. All right, so this is it. And this time I used some other paper. That is called, let me grab it here. Christmas Greetings Mix and Match. No. I don't remember. Christmas Greetings? Anyway, it is right now on back order, but I hear it's coming back, so watch for that. So real red, garden green. This is truly traditional Christmas colors. I wanted to try a little bit of everything. All right, so we'll start with the green. So I just cut a green layer, and that one is probably 4 by 5 1/4, because that's typically what I do. And then this one is not, yeah, like 1/4 inch smaller. So what, 3 3/4 by 5. Hopefully I said that right. I love this plaid paper. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful paper set. All right, now I've got some pieces I cut here. So a branch in garden green, some red of the berries, and then two pecan pine cones. And then I have a basic white piece. But I'm going to emboss this. And you wouldn't have to. Make sure I have the top of it. So I'm using my little embossing buddy. And all that does is that takes the static off your cardstock and deals with your grease from the palms of your hand. So I don't use a lot of lotion, although I should because my hands are so dry. But lotion does not do well for cardstock. Sometimes it leaves marks. But if you have lotion on and you get it on your cardstock, the embossing powder is going to stick to it. So I'm going to use a Versamark gold embossing powder and the stamp. The one thing I want to make sure when I'm doing this is I want to make sure my stamp is clean, because I really don't want my Versamark pad to have a whole bunch of beautiful shaded spruce in it. Although it's been known to happen. And really with embossing like this, it doesn't matter, because usually you're covering up, unless you're using clear embossing powder, you're covering up where the Versamark is. So my stamp looks fairly clean. Yeah, those are stains. So my stamp is clean. I'm going to open up my Versamark, ink it up. I want to make sure that that stamp is good and inked. I'm going to stamp this down. I love our photopolymer stamps. I know I said I wanted this one in wood, but see, I would get two. I would get one in wood and one in photopolymer. The wood one I would never stamp with. I would just put it on a shelf and make it look pretty. But the photopolymer, I love being able to see where I'm stamping. We'll sprinkle on the gold embossing powder. And then we'll add some where I can see we didn't get enough on there. Now that could be not enough on there from just not sticking, or I didn't ink up the stamp very well, but it's going to be great. It's going to work. So I'm just going to set that down for a minute while I remove this. One of the things you'll find with embossing powder is it's hard to get it back in the jar. You end up with, always seems to be more than what you started with. All right, so there's that. Let me bring my heat gun over. I hope it can reach, because I want you guys to see. This was like the first thing, when I went to my very first Stampin' Up! Demonstration 29 years ago. It's crazy to think it's been 29 years. She did embossing, and I was so impressed. It's going to be loud because I'm going to turn on the embossing gun, but I'm not going to talk when I'm doing it. So all you want to do, well, I guess I'm going to talk. All you want to do is, some people do it from the bottom. I always went from the top. And you just want to move your gun so it's heating it. I hope you guys can see that. And you want to keep it moving and melting that powder. Because if you keep it in one place too long, you'll end up burning the powder, and it rises and then falls flat. So you want it to be a nice raised edge. Oh, it's turning out so pretty. I love this. So I'm actually gonna do some kind of home decor piece with this. I just think that that stamp, oh, look at that. Can you see the gold? It's so pretty. I love it. Super easy. This card is actually pretty easy. All right, so once you've done that, then I'm going to bring my card back in and I'm going to bring my dimensionals in. Just want to make sure this is cool so that it hardens so that I don't end up smushing it. I do love embossing and I find myself doing it more this year than I have in a long time. I've been doing a lot of embossing with white and gold. They actually kind of sit right here on my desk. Things I don't put away, but my things that I don't put away are getting to be more and more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull off the backs of these dimensionals. This would have been pretty stamped in either red or green too, but I had to show this with that gold because it's so pretty. All right, so once I've done that, then I'm going to do a very similar thing that I did last time. So I need a little dimensional on this one. So it's kind of a similar layout. Put a drop of multi-purpose adhesive, which I sometimes call green glue. Pull the back off. We're going to add this branch on here. We're going to add our little red berries. Put those on there. And then our little pecan pie is a favorite of mine. And who doesn't like pecan pie acorns? They're so pretty. So lots of different techniques tonight. Let's put that on there, and I'll put this one on there too. And this time I'm going to use the baker's twine or linen thread. I don't know which one it is. I have to look closer at it I think it's baker's twine. I don't know. I'm going to double it up this time. So it's doubled. I got 2 strands, and I'm just going to do a bow. And then you got to be careful what you pull here so you're not pulling the wrong. But these are the bottoms of the bow. I don't want that very big. And then we're going to trim these off. And we're going to get a glue dot. Determined to use every one of these. So sometimes when I'm using a glue dot with linen thread, I might roll it up a little bit. It really only needs one. And then I'm going to add that on. And again, this is flat enough that you could mail it. No problem. I stuck with the same paper, the exact same card because I loved it so much. On the inside, I just did a piece of basic white, and then I used my extra strip that I cut off this edge. So this was the extra, just to decorate the inside. So card number 1, card number 3. They're so pretty. I don't know, did I do the inside of this one? No. I didn't do the inside of these either. Not yet anyway. And then this one I did the inside of, where I cut the note and then I did the sponging around the edges. Look at how pretty they all are. All right, I got some cards done. Go for it, Joan. I say go for it. Start your Christmas cards. All right, does anybody have any questions? There's a lot tonight. I hope you learned some stuff. I hope you got some tips from me. Like I said, I will take pictures. I'll take pictures of the new ones. I know I took pictures of the other ones that I did this afternoon. I will take pictures of the other ones, the newer ones from tonight, so that you can get both of them. And again, remember, screaming deal on that starter kit tonight only. No, it ends tomorrow like at 11:50. So yeah, they turned out fabulous. I love them. I love every single one of them. It has a lot to do with the paper and the stamp that I really love. So anyway, the tutorial ends. Next month's tutorial, I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm using that same plaid paper and this adorable set with the peppermint. This is really difficult with the peppermint dots. So that's one of the cards. That's for next month's tutorial. I will be showing that next Thursday at 6 or 7, 6:30 or 7, depending on what I decide to do. With the time change, we all know what that does to us. And so I have a feeling that if I hold off till 7 o'clock, I will be sleeping during my demonstration. So anyway, thank you. If you haven't already done so, sign up for my newsletter. I send out tips, tricks, techniques, ideas, my class schedule, all the things going on, and notices about this particular video. So see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend. Happy Halloween to those who celebrate. It's my dog's favorite night. She loves it when kids come to the door. So anyway, I will see you guys next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.